Hello everyone. Welcome back to Kids Corner. We're going to continue with the Jesus Storybook Bible. I hope everyone is enjoying the stories. Last week we learned about Noah, and we're going to learn a little bit more about him today and what happened after Noah and his family got off the ark. Before I tell you the story, I want you to think about if you've ever heard someone talk in a different language before and what that was like. You know that they're speaking, but you have no idea what they're saying. And we're going to learn a little bit more about that in this story. So today's story is called A Giant Staircase to Heaven, and it comes still from the book of Genesis in the Bible. It comes from chapter 11, and it's about the Tower of Babel. So Noah and his family lived in the land, and his children had children, and those children had more children, and then those children had even more. Well, you get the picture. Until there were lots of people on the earth once more. Now back then, everyone spoke exactly the same language, so you didn't need to learn Swahili or Japanese or anything because you could say hello to anyone and they knew what you meant. One day, everyone was talking and they came up with an idea. Let's build ourselves a beautiful city to live in. It can be our home, and we'll be safe forever and ever. Then they had another idea. Let's build a really tall tower to reach up to heaven. So you can see them there getting ready to build that tower. They want to build a tower that's really tall to get up towards heaven. Now, I don't know about you, but I've been in an airplane, and that's a lot higher than a tower, and we still didn't quite get to heaven. So let's see what happens. Yes, they said, we'll say, look at us up here, and everyone will look up at us, and we'll look down on them, and then we'll know we are something. We'll be like God, we'll be famous and safe and happy, and everything will be all right. So they got to work. Brick by brick, the tower grew higher and higher until it soared above the city, touching the sky. They built stairs in the tower to climb to the top. It was like a giant staircase to heaven. Look, they cheered, we're the ones. See what we can do with our very own hands. They were quite pleased with themselves. But God wasn't pleased with them. God could see what they were doing. They were trying to live without him. But God knew that wouldn't make them happy or safe or anything. If they kept on like this, they would only destroy themselves. And God loved them too much to let that happen. So he stopped their plans. Here's a picture. They changed the book so you could see how tall it is. It's the other way now. See how big that tower is? And the ladders that they had to use to get to the top. One morning, they went to work as usual, but everything was different. Their words were all new and funny. You see, God had given each person a completely different language. Could you imagine? I'm talking English right now. If I all of a sudden started just talking Spanish, you wouldn't know what I was saying. Suddenly, no one understood what anyone else was saying. Someone would say, "How do you do?" And the other person thought they said, "How ugly are you?" It wasn't funny. You could be saying something nice like, "Such a lovely morning," and get a punch in the nose because they thought you said, "Hush up, you're boring." You couldn't even say pardon to check if you heard right because no one understood that word either. It wasn't easy to work together after that, as you can only imagine. People were always quarreling and fighting and getting in a dreadful muddle and becoming grumpier and grumpier until at last they were all too cross to keep on building and just had to stop. So you can see people are getting hurt, getting bopped in the head, and someone's hanging from a ladder because no one knows what they're saying. After that, people scattered all over the world, which is how we ended up with so many different languages today. You see, God knew, however high they reached, however hard they tried, people could never get back to heaven by themselves. People didn't need a staircase. They needed a rescuer. Because the way back to heaven wasn't a staircase. It was a person. People could never reach up to heaven, So heaven would have to come down to them. And one day it would. Here's the picture. You can see the Tower of Babel from the top looking down. I hope you enjoyed that story. What do you think they mean with the rescuer that was going to have to come down from heaven? I think they're talking about Jesus. Jesus, remember, he had to leave heaven and come to earth and be born as a baby. That was the greatest gift that God gave us, was sending his son Jesus. That's what they're talking about. That's the rescuer. I hope you all have a great week, and I'll see you next week. Bye.